probably just as infamous as aphids. These creatures suck the life out of plants and are a gardener's, I won't say worst nightmare, but certainly a frustration. So today we're going to look at leafhoppers and discuss what to look for and hopefully some beneficials to attract that will help deal with them. So let's start with looking at the eggs and seeing why they're so difficult to find. So when coming across leafhoppers, I'm sure one of the first questions is the eggs. What are we looking for? And somewhat unfortunately, they are not laying them in a way that is easy to notice. So it's generally on the underside of a leaf, which we have here. It's right there. And first off, even noticing that is going to be a challenge. You can see the scale, I'm sure. But primarily we are finding this after the fact. So they'll usually have already hatched and all we'll see is the damage. So she's depositing the eggs just under the surface of the leaf. And obviously when they eventually emerge, extremely tiny little nymphs that will go through several stages, and we'll look at some of the various stages so you can get an idea of what they look like. But yeah, this is a huge reason why actually dealing with them at the egg stage is almost impossible. Anyway, let's go look at some of the actual nymphs, and you can see the different colors and sizes that they come in before they reach the adult stage. So I didn't capture it exactly when they emerged, but here are leafhopper nymphs that have freshly hatched from the egg sacs. And yeah, that's what they look like. And from here they will go through several molts and become larger. They start out obviously in this kind of translucent with the giant eyes, and they will turn green or brown as they mature. But still fun to see them at this very young stage and trying to figure out how to hop around and move. And notice at this stage, they tend to do this kind of shuffling. They don't fly or jump quite as readily as the adults do, though the adults will also shuffle and try to just move rather than fly away. But we've got several stages here. They don't always come green. They can be more of a tan or brown color. And just hanging out. A lot of times you'll see them on the underside of the leaf, especially when they're really small. Not just because they've freshly emerged, but they're also very vulnerable. So even now they're trying to scurry back under the leaf. And we've got some really tiny one there. So they have kind of a grasshopper appearance to them. but the legs are certainly shaped differently, and behavior is different. So let's go find an adult, and then we will discuss a little more of how to manage, not necessarily eradicate, but just manage having these in the garden. Unique site that I don't think I've ever seen in person. And this is a leafhopper emerged from its last encasing and now is an adult. There's the wings, the rather distinctive eye, and this obviously just emerged not too long ago, so it's going to take a little bit of time for it to solidify, shall we say, and get the full coloring. But very interesting. I did not expect to find this so early this morning, but so cool. So like many winged creatures, insects, such as lacewings, others that molt and eventually they need to develop wings, they will find a vertical spot to allow their wings to finish hardening and developing. And in this case, the leafhopper is no different. See some of the reddish coloring there on the wings. And right now it's a bit of a pale color as far as the overall body, but as it finishes, shall we say, hardening, the coloring will come into play. There, now it's starting to take on a little more of the adult coloring and shape that you're probably used to seeing. And it's probably going to be another 30 minutes, maybe another hour before it's completely looking as the adult we're used to. So hopefully I'll catch it. I'll double check and hopefully I can give an update. Well, almost there. It's certainly moving around a lot more. And you see the pattern is really coming in. So yeah, it'll take it a bit longer, but I think you can get a general idea as to what they look like when they first emerge as new adults, and about how long it takes for them to get all of their coloring and pattern solidified. So really glad I caught this morning. This was a great thing to witness. So why do leafhoppers matter? if nothing else, they're part of the ecosystem. And a huge aspect of that is they are food for so many other creatures, insects, birds. There are even tiny, tiny wasps that target the eggs. So everything from spiders, even jumping spiders, to assassin bugs at every stage, the nymph stage and the adults, to lacewing larvae, and so many others are relying on the leafhoppers, not just as adults, but through their entire life cycle. So most of the time, I don't do anything about, quote, dealing with them, aside from maybe protecting some of my fruit when it's maturing to try and ensure that they are not sucking the life out of the fruit. So I'll put a row cover over a few plants, or maybe use the organza bags around peaches or some of the figs. But otherwise, I leave them alone. And yes, I find some around. Things are not always pretty looking because of the honeydew liquid that they excrete will show up on the leaves. But for the most part, focus on the predators that are wanting to consume them. So how do you create a home to ensure that the assassin bugs and spiders and birds and everybody else is showing up to take care of leafhoppers? And that comes down to things I've talked about before. So definitely go back and watch a few of my other videos of food, water, and shelter. And if you're covering all of those things, then leafhoppers should not be a problem. And you should just enjoy seeing them when you can and let nature take care of it. So, hope this helps, and I will see you next time.